Alright, let's go through every key term you need to know for Section 3. As we go, focus on understanding both the definition and the context behind each one. We'll start with the War Hawks. These were Democratic Republicans elected around 1810 who strongly supported going to war with Britain. Leaders like Henry Clay and John C. Calhoun believed war could strengthen the economy and possibly expand American territory. Next is the War of 1812. This conflict lasted from 1812 to 1815 and was essentially the second war between the United States and Britain. Although it ended in a draw, Americans saw it as a victory because they survived and proved themselves again as an independent nation. Moving on to slave codes. These were strict laws that controlled the behavior of enslaved people, limiting where they could go and what they could do. These laws reinforced slavery and later influenced segregation policies. Now we come to interchangeable parts. This was a major industrial innovation that allowed products to be made using standardized pieces. It made manufacturing faster and more efficient and helped grow industry in the North. Next is John Quincy Adams. He served as Secretary of State under Monroe and later became president from 1825 to 1829. He is best known for benefiting from what was called the corrupt bargain. The telegraph comes next. Invented by Samuel Morse in 1836, it allowed people to communicate almost instantly across long distances, helping connect the growing nation. Now we have manifest destiny. This was the belief that the United States was meant, or even destined by God, to expand across the entire continent from the Atlantic to the Pacific. Following that is the idea of a reciprocal tariff. This means that if one country places a tariff on another country's goods, the other country responds by placing a tariff in return. Next is the Treaty of Ghent. This treaty officially ended the War of 1812 and returned things to how they were before the war began. Now we come to Joseph Smith. He was the founder of the Mormon Church, also known as the Church of Latter-day Saints. The Oregon Trail is next. This was a major route beginning in St. Louis that settlers used to travel west in search of new opportunities. Now we have the Missouri Compromise. Created by Henry Clay, it admitted Missouri as a slave state and Maine as a free state, while also setting a boundary line at 36 degrees 30 minutes to limit the spread of slavery. The Monroe Doctrine is one of the most important foreign policy ideas. It declared that European nations could no longer colonize in the Western Hemisphere and that the United States would stay out of European affairs. Next is the term antebellum. This refers to the period before the Civil War, especially in the South, and is often associated with plantation life and a society built on slavery. Henry Clay comes next. He was a major political leader, a war hawk, Speaker of the House, and the creator of the Missouri Compromise. He also played a key role in the corrupt bargain. Now we move to the Bank War. This was Andrew Jackson's fight against the Second National Bank, which he believed favored the wealthy. His actions contributed to economic problems later on. Tippecanoe refers to the battle in 1811, where American forces attacked Native Americans at Prophetstown. It was a violent event that increased tensions. Next is Andrew Jackson. He was a war hero from the Battle of New Orleans, ran for president in 1824, and later won in 1828. He is known for his strong leadership style and controversial policies, especially toward Native Americans. Martin Van Buren comes next. He helped Jackson build the Democratic Party, served as his vice president, and later became president in 1836, during which he faced the Panic of 1837. Now we have Aaron Burr. He was Thomas Jefferson's vice president who famously killed Alexander Hamilton in a duel and was later accused of treason but found not guilty. The cotton gin is next. Invented by Eli Whitney, it made cotton production much faster and greatly increased the demand for enslaved labor in the South. John Tyler follows. He became president after William Henry Harrison died just 30 days into his term. Tyler was unpopular with both major political parties. Now we come to the corrupt bargain. In the election of 1824, Henry Clay supported John Quincy Adams in the House of Representatives, helping him become president. Adams then made Clay his Secretary of State, leading many to believe a deal had been made. Next is the Indian Removal Act of 1830. This law allowed the government to force Native American tribes off their land and move them west to reservations. Thomas Jefferson is next. He was the third president responsible for the Louisiana Purchase, but his presidency also included economic struggles like the Embargo Act. Now we have Fort McHenry. This was the site of a key battle during the War of 1812 that inspired the writing of the Star-Spangled Banner. The Embargo Act of 1807 comes next. This law stopped all foreign trade in an attempt to avoid conflict with Britain and France, but it ended up hurting the American economy badly. Next is the Protective Tariff. This is a tax placed on imported goods to help American industries compete with foreign products. Now we come to the Alamo. This was a battle during the Texas Revolution where Texan forces were defeated by Mexican troops, but it became a powerful symbol of resistance. The Whig Party is next. This political party formed in opposition to Andrew Jackson and his policies, especially his strong use of executive power. James K. Polk follows. He was elected president in 1844 and strongly supported expansion, leading the country into war with Mexico and expanding U.S. territory. Next is General Santa Anna. He was a Mexican leader who fought against the Texans during their fight for independence and later against the United States. The Trail of Tears is one of the darkest events in U.S. history. It refers to the forced relocation of Native Americans from the southeast to Oklahoma, during which thousands died. Now we come to nullification. This is the idea that a state can refuse to follow a federal law if it believes the law is unconstitutional. William Henry Harrison is next. He was elected president in 1840 but died just 30 days after taking office. John C. Calhoun follows. He was a war hawk, served as vice president, and strongly supported nullification and states' rights. Next is Cherokee v. Georgia. This Supreme Court case ruled that Native American tribes were not fully independent nations and could not sue the federal government. James Madison comes next. He was the fourth president and led the country during the War of 1812. Tecumseh follows. He was a Shawnee leader who tried to unite Native American tribes to resist American expansion. Finally, we end with the Era of Good Feelings. This was the period from about 1820 to 1824 when political conflict decreased because the Federalist Party had largely disappeared, creating a temporary sense of national unity.